To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, the Tropical Serenade, the Tiki Room under new management, the Tiki Room featuring Stitch for some reason, it has a lot of different names. But the Enchanted Tiki Room, being an original Disneyland attraction, has not only a lot of names, but also a lot of stories. And if you couldn't guess by the title, that's what I'm here to talk to you about today. The stories behind Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room at all the parks, or most of the parks. I might not talk about the Stitch one, and you may not know it, but this attraction has a very colorful history behind it, so I'm here to help peel back the layers of mystery and intrigue that cover up Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room. What better way to start, though, than at the very beginning of the story? The Enchanted Tiki Room opened at Disneyland in 1963, and was the first attraction to feature audio animatronics, beating out Mr. Lincoln by a full 2 years, or 1 year if you count the New York World's Fair, which personally I don't, because I wasn't held at Disneyland. That would be cool though. Can you imagine a World's Fair at Disneyland? Like, come on. Okay. Oh, sorry. Focus. But there was another attraction whose progress was impeded by the 1964 New York World's Fair. If you guessed Jean Lafitte, come on! Actually, I'm just kidding. It's just the Haunted Mansion. Now, if you know me, you know I love drawing crazy conspiracies between two different attractions. And what better attractions to connect than the Enchanted Tiki Room and the Haunted Mansion? They say it can't be done. Well, I'm going to try to do that today. Now you're saying, well, the Haunted Mansion and the Enchanted Tiki Room are two very different attractions, and that is where you are wrong, actually. They are more alike than you would think. Many Imagineers that we all know and love worked on not only the Haunted Mansion, but also the Enchanted Tiki Room almost at the same time. We're talking Rolly Crump, we're talking Mark Davis, we're talking Claude Coates, we're talking all the Imagineers who worked on some effects in the story for the Haunted Mansion also worked on the effects and story for the Tiki Room. It all comes together. But of course the same Imagineers would work on those two attractions. I mean, that's literally their job, to work on the attractions for Disneyland. But where are more connections? And I'm glad to say that there are plenty more connections between the Enchanted Tiki Room and the Haunted Mansion. You know what? If we're gonna say the Tiki Room and the Haunted Mansion are connected, why don't we just call it the Enchanted Creepy Room? Yeah, that's a good one. Now, in case you guys were not aware, the Haunted Mansion was going to be a walkthrough with 6 or maybe 7 rooms and a 2 or 3 minute presentation in each one before you moved on to the next. It would have been not unlike a series of short Tiki Room shows, except there's no birds, there's ghosts in this one. Now, if you know Rolly Crump, and I actually do know Rolly Crump, you know he was enamored with the idea of a weird, surreal house that was itself alive, like a bewitched castle in, let's say, Beauty and the Beast. If you were to switch out magic tiki gods for ghosts, the Tiki Room is basically what you would have been seeing in the original concept for the Haunted Mansion. One reason why it feels so easy to substitute tiki gods for ghosts is that the Imagineers already did it for us. You know, after the tikis are playing their drums and it gets faster and faster and everybody starts looking around like, hey, is something going to happen? Something does happen. The lights go out and thunder flashes from outside. Kind of. You know, and that one bird says, the gods have been angered by all the celebrating. That's, Michael. Michael's his name. You see, these fake thunderstorms outside the windows were a prominent element of Ken Anderson's 1957 or 58 plans for the Disneyland Ghost House. And, well, they still kind of use it today in the changing portrait hallway, you know, where you're about to get on your doom buggy and there's the storm on your left side and the changing portrait's on your right side. Yeah, that's more or less the same effect that they use in the Tiki Room. Now, I mentioned Beauty and the Beast earlier because Rolly Crump loved the Beauty and the Beast movie. Not the one you're probably thinking of. It's a lot older and it's in black and white, and live action. Rolly talked about the living faces carved into the fireplace hearth in the Beast's castle in the old movie, and it's something he really wanted to recreate in the Haunted Mansion. And again, he kind of did recreate it in the Haunted Mansion with the negative impression busts that look at you as you walk past. But let's go deeper. Let's look at this concept art for the stretching room, the original stretching room, and it looks pretty similar to what we have today, right? Let's take a closer look at those beams, though. Now, if these weird tiki-like faces were able to come to life and animate, it would be very reminiscent of that Beauty and the Beast black and white movie, but it would also be very reminiscent of something else elsewhere at Disneyland. Let's take a look at this Tiki Room poster, or I guess technically Tropical Serenade because that's what they called it in Orlando at the time. Oh, would you look at that? That Tiki's face looks a little familiar to me. If you really think about it though, most Tikis are a little spooky in their appearance and a little surreal and otherworldly, so it doesn't surprise us that they can kind of be caught up in the Haunted Mansion and Tiki Room at the same time. But what would you say if I were to show you another piece of concept art for something that was going to be in the Museum of the Weird? Basically an early concept for the Haunted Mansion or a spin-off of the Haunted Mansion similar to the Blue Bayou. Yeah, That tree thing looks a little familiar, kinda like Tangaroa outside the Enchanted Tiki Room. Coincidence? Maybe. Possibly. But, let's go even further. And here we go, we're off to Theoryland. Once you start looking for visual similarities between the Haunted Mansion and the Tiki Room, you'll see them popping up everywhere. Another point of contact between the Tiki Room and the Haunted Mansion is botanical in nature. It's the plants. Rolly really liked man-eating plants. Now, man-eating plants aren't something we see in abundance in the Haunted Mansion, but it's something we see during Haunted Mansion Holiday and something we see overseas over in Mystic Manor. The connection between the Haunted Mansion and the Enchanted Tiki Room is there, you just have to know where to look. Concept art most likely, but I mean, it's still there. And that's not even to mention that the Raven in the Haunted Mansion, you know, the one that follows you throughout the mansion that was originally supposed to be the ghost host, is pretty much the same animatronic that you'd find inside the Tiki Room. It's built the same way as all the other birds. But now, everybody, let us transition away from the Haunted Mansion and we'll say goodbye to the Haunted Mansion. Everybody wave goodbye. Y'all wave? Okay. Now, with the recent confirmation of the Tropical Hideaway opening soon where Aladdin's Oasis is right now in Disneyland, right next to the Jungle Cruise, it's kind of combining the stories for the Jungle Cruise and the Tiki Room together into one cohesive narrative. This, I think, is amazing for those Adventureland freaks out there. I mean, you know who you are, you Adventureland freaks. You freaks. But it's also confirmation that these two attractions exist within the same universe. They exist within the same cohesive story. This brings me to my next theory. It goes like this. If you were to ride all of the attractions in Adventureland all the way down to the Haunted Mansion, you would be experiencing the timeline in chronological order of these attractions. Now let me explain. Let's say you go and you watch the Tiki Room show and you love it. You enjoy your Dole Whip and you sit and you relax and it's wonderful. Then after you are done at the Tiki Room, you go and enjoy a wonderful meal at the Tropical Serenade with an animatronic bird in the corner similar to the Tiki Room while watching the Jungle Cruise boats go by. After you're done with your meal, you journey deeper into the jungle and find the world-famous Jungle Cruise. You board the Jungle Cruise and you sail across the biggest and best rivers in the entire world. You exit and you go and you help Indiana Jones in the Temple of the Forbidden Eye. After this, you continue down that walkway and continue out of the jungle to New Orleans Square where you go and relive a pirate's life in reverse. Now I know what you're thinking. I don't think that Pirates takes place in the same time period as the Jungle Cruise. I think that's a little bit before its time, and you would be right. Oh, but that's why the Pirate's Life in Reverse theory is so important to this theory that I'm cooking up. It kind of ties it all together. You journey down another river cruise into the bayou and listen to this old man on this porch recount his tales of being a pirate back in the good old days. You see, that way the time periods between the Jungle Cruise and Pirates of the Caribbean line up more or less. Then after hearing this old pirate's tales, you journey back into the city of New Orleans and you look upon an old desolate mansion lying at the end of the street. You decide, hey, what's the worst thing that could happen? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how you connect two completely separate lands and a bunch of completely unrelated rides into one cohesive story. Now, next time you go to Disneyland, just take a hard left at the partner statue into Adventureland, grab yourself a Dole Whip and enjoy the Tiki Room, then just stick to the left all the way down to the Haunted Mansion. Because what you'll be doing is engaging in the biggest story in any of the Disney parks, all of it connected over the course of multiple different attractions and probably hundreds of years. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not mention the biggest secret about Walt Disney's Enchanted Tiki Room, the bathroom. Now that is a secret worth keeping. Oh wait, I just talked about it. Well, I guess the secret's out then. But this all brings me back to one last mind-blowing fact about the Tiki Room. According to the Walt Disney Archives, when Walt was on vacation with his wife to a certain city, Walt and Lily stumbled into a small antique shop and found a small mechanical bird in a cage. Walt, of course, bought the bird and brought it back to California to show his Imagineers and ask them to figure out how it worked. To Imagineers, you may remember, Mark Davis and Rolly Crump not only figured out how it worked, but they also made it better. Walt then challenged all of Walt Disney Imagineering at that time, to create bigger, life-size, and more lifelike versions of this mechanical bird. This, of course, led to the creation of the Tiki Room birds that we know today, and eventually the creation of audio animatronic technology. And what city was it that Walt and Lily were visiting when they discovered this small mechanical bird in a cage? Well, everybody, it was none other than the Big Easy, New Orleans, Louisiana, the city where both Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion take place canonically. Now, if that doesn't spell coincidence, I don't know what does. But hey, that just goes to show you how the domino effect works, and it also goes to show you how one attraction can inspire the rest of a theme park. And while many people may continue to run past it on their way to Indiana Jones or Pirates of the Caribbean or Space Mountain, I know I for sure will definitely always make time to sit and listen to the birds sing their tropical serenade. And you know what? With how it connects to all the other attractions on that side of the park, I say you should too. Hello everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you all enjoyed it immensely. It took me a lot of thinking to get that theory down, that last theory I was talking about. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you will leave a like down below if you liked it. Leave a comment below. Make sure if you don't want to miss a single upload from me that you hit that notification bell. Whenever I upload, you'll get a little notification on your phone or on your desktop. It really helps me out. Make sure to follow me on Twitter for some more updates regarding my channel and just what I'm up to in general. Also, for those of you remaining Patreon patrons, very big thank you to you guys. And if you have not donated on Patreon, make sure to follow the link below and just even drop $1 there. I'll get more in-park videos out to you guys thanks to Patreon and thanks to all of you who watch all of my videos. So thank you very much everybody for that. Anyways everybody, I have been talking for quite some time now and I think my voice could use a rest. Thank you all so much for watching, it really helps me out. I hope to see you all in the next video, and until next time, goodbye.